Donets crossing, lost Russian battalion. What went wrong? Russia was advancing in the Ukrainian war to try to involve the Ukrainians and gain a tactical advantage, and for that the Russian fighters needed to cross a large water course, but what seemed like a brilliant maneuver turned out to be an inestimable loss in Russian men and tanks. This is the story of the Russian attempt at the Seversky Donets crossing. It all started with an intense fire set in a local forest, trying to get smoke cover for the operation. Despite the smoke screen hiding the place of crossing through the improvised bridge, this maneuver proved to be useless, as the use of a motor boat would reveal the exact location of the crossing. With most of the margin steep or with dense riparian forest in most of its extension, the possible crossing places were very limited. In war, when we want to determine a kill zone, we allocate heavy artillery means in a probable stretch of enemy passage, and in advance we regulate fires, weapons aimed at the exact coordinate. Just wait. We determined an area of intelligence interest, and in the event of any indication, it characterizes an ongoing event. In the case when the transposition occurs, all weapons will already be pointed at this stretch, making observation unnecessary for the triggering of fires. The characteristic noise of the boat engine that positioned the improvised bridge, the need for smooth banks so that the tanks could reach the other bank, confirmed by the roar of the armored vehicles, determined the triggering of heavy artillery fire. Then the fetid smell of the corpses of Russian soldiers amid the twisted, incandescent metal of the destroyed tanks. But what could the Russians do differently? First, they should have conquered and maintained a beachhead as a preliminary action for the crossing, that is, they should have allocated troops crossing in inflatable rowboats that would position themselves on the enemy's bank, preventing direct fire. After the transposition, carry out an infiltration into enemy territory in order to destroy Ukrainian artillery positions not defended by infantry troops. Concomitant with the conquest of the bridgehead on the enemy's opposite bank, helicopters could be used in different types of airmobile operations, combat support, or logistics. Among other missions, helicopter fractions could be used to conquer positions in the enemy's rear, taking into account the range of enemy artillery, where infantry troops would land at these positions. Attack helicopters would support the transposition by attacking artillery positions. These artillery positions are raised due to the characteristic of artillery means that require roads, suitable terrain, and are limited by the maximum range of their weapons. The operation of this battalion, if successful, would determine the encirclement and destruction of a Ukrainian brigade-level force, leaving all Ukrainian positions in the region by the maneuver. A tactical infiltration, combined with the transposition operation, would neutralize enemy positions that could dangerously interfere with the transposition, such as artillery positions, and would isolate the enemy from the support of its reserves. The main armored force would be waiting for the moment to cross in a gathering area far from enemy artillery range, preferably in a forest edge or other covered and sheltered position. After the transposition, the armored troops would provide fire support, mobility, and protection of the cuirass in order to guarantee the troops in the enemy's terrain the means to engage the Ukrainian forces. To coordinate the command and control of the operation, each action would compose an event in a synchronization matrix, a military document where the unfolding of each event during the time of the operation and the sequence of events could be monitored. On the Ukrainian side, they followed all the hallmarks of good combat in allocating directed artillery to a possible crossing point, but would have exposed their heavy artillery to destruction if the Russians had a meticulous plan for attacking these positions. Everything took place in a coordinated and synchronized way with the events of Russian motorboat noises with overwhelming fire, and therefore they won the victory with the annihilation of the Russian battalion and its impetus to attack. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like.